Can you see slide? Yes, can you see slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is 5th class. Hope I'll finish this class today. If I'll not finish, then I'll take tomorrow. And then if I'll finish the class today, then tomorrow I'll take you about the blood grouping, how the blood grouping is done in the practical. Okay, so tomorrow's practical I'll take. If I don't finish the class, then I'll continue with the same class. So today we are towards the end of this class is transfusion medicine. So today in the this blood banking or the transfusion medicine, we'll be talking about the blood component therapy, and then we'll talk about indications for blood transfusion, criteria for donor selection, screening program. Screening here, what test we will do for the donor, that screening program we will see, and then the blood transfusion reactions. So today mainly we'll discuss about, do you have any idea what do you mean by blood component therapy? Anybody can say what do you mean by blood component?
Transferring part of the blood like RBC, platelet.
Okay, good. Okay, what's your name?
Myself, Manish.
Manish, okay. Here the blood component therapy means whenever we will take the blood, isn't it? So suppose if a donor comes and then gives the blood, the whole blood, it is known as the whole blood. So in the whole blood, RBC will be there, platelet will be there, WBC will be there, and then the plasma will also be there. And in the plasma, clotting factors, everything will be there, isn't it? So now here in the component therapy means we will make it the component, like we can make the RBC concentration, platelet concentration, or the platelet rich plasma, fresh frozen plasma. So we can make it into the different components. So that is known as the blood component therapy. And indications for blood transfusion, in which case here indications for blood transfusion means in which cases we will give what type of blood. If a surgery, bleeding more is there, what type of component we'll give, and then when we will give the whole blood. So indications mean that. And criteria for donor selection means suppose a person can give the blood completing his which age, or he cannot give blood in which conditions. So, and we will also see the screening and blood transfusion reaction at the end. So we'll come to the blood component therapy. So here the first, this sentence you see, modern blood transfusion helped in the optimal use of every blood donation by the use of blood component therapy. So here modern blood transfusion means, so blood transfusion you have understood, isn't it? So modern blood transfusion means, so here basically the different components of the blood will be given. And then so if a person donates 1 pint of blood, at that time we will make the different component. We will make the different components like the RBC concentration, WBC, and then the platelets or the platelet rich plasma. So we'll make the different components and then we can give. So one person can give blood to the 3 person, isn't it? So then the unnecessary, if a person requires only blood, then we should not give the RBC component, because if RBC is given, then it's not required for his body. Only the platelet is required in this condition, one example only. So here the RBCs will go wastage. So if it is RBC is given to a person who requires RBC, then it is useful. So we will have the optimal use of every blood donation by the use of the component therapy. So it's not like we cannot give the whole blood or whole of the blood. We can also give, but component therapy is better. So now here how we will do the different separation of the components. So here first line you see plastic blood collection bags with integral tubing. So here there will be the different plastic bags will be there, and then they will have the connected tubes will be there. So with the integral tubing means they will have the one bag is connected with the another tube, and then 2, 3 or 4 bags will be there. So the blood, it doesn't have to come out of this blood bag or the plastic bag. So it is connected with the tube, and from the tube we will transfer the blood components to the other bags. Okay, so here for this, high speed refrigerated centrifuge is required. So high speed refrigerated centrifuge is required for the separation of the component. Suppose if blood bag having the blood or the whole blood is centrifuged, then the RBCs are heavier than that of the plasma and then the platelets, isn't it so? So that's why the RBCs will settle down at the bottom, and then we can separate the plasma. And then the deep freezers means, so refrigerator, I already told you what is the temperature of the blood we should store. At what temperature we should store the blood?
About 4.
4 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so many of you answered means, okay, 2 to 6, isn't it so? But the usually we should maintain the blood at the 4 degrees Celsius. And now here the deep freezers means it will be less than 18, and then it can be even minus 60, minus 80 also. So sometimes whatever the components are required in the deep freezers, we can keep it up to 1 year. Understood here? So the deep freezers are required, and mainly here we will talk about this deep freezer. We will talk about the fresh frozen plasma. And there will be the cell separator machines will be there. So the cell separator machine means, so if the RBC settles down at the bottom, then the plasma above it will show the platelets. So we will compress the cell separator machine means the cells will be separated. So we'll compress that bag, and then the plasma having the platelets will be separated, and then the plasma with the platelets, whenever it is again centrifuged, then we can remove the plasma. Understood here? So here for the separation or for the this component therapy, we need plastic blood bags with the integral tubing. Means it will have the interconnected tube will be there, but the blood will not be exposed to the outside environment because there may be the infections and all, isn't it so? So here there will be the high speed refrigerated centrifuge will be there. So blood, it has to be stored in the 4 degree, I already told you. So that's why here it is the refrigerated centrifuge will be there. Within the refrigerated centrifuge machine will be there, and then we will spin the blood. And deep freezers means we have to store the blood. So if it is separated in the different components, some we have to keep at the 4 degrees Celsius at the blood bag's temperature, and some we have to agitate. So different things will be there, instruments will be there, and then the cell separator machines, and they made the blood component preparation easier and then the practical. So this cell separator machine will make it easier for the blood component preparation easier and then the practical. Did you understand this slide? What I said, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll show you the pictures and I'll try to explain to you, I hope. But I love to draw in the blackboard and then teach you, but here it's not possible, but still I'll try to make you understand. I hope I'll be able to do that. So now here the blood component therapy, it will help in the 2 ways. See here, one is the economy of the blood, as 1 unit of the blood can be separated into different components and used in the different patients according to their indications. Understood here? So here the blood component therapy is useful because it is economically, means it doesn't become, if 1 person will donate the blood and then it is given to the 3 persons, then it becomes economically beneficial, isn't it so? So 1 person with the 1 person's blood, it can be given to the 2-3 persons, isn't it so? So here that's why it is economically useful for the will also go, isn't it so? So now here, whenever this only platelet is required, that time we can give the platelet concentration or the platelet rich plasma. So it is easy as different components are separated from 1 person's blood and then it is given, and then it minimizes the hazards of the whole blood transfusion. Means nowadays whole blood transfusion is considered as hazard because unnecessary other components will also go to the recipient. Now we will see what are the various blood components. Did you know about it? So here you see red cell concentrate or the packed red cell. So here mainly the RBCs will be there, and around 50 ml of the plasma will be there. So otherwise RBC concentrate will be so much thick, and then the concentrated, isn't it? So, and it will not pass through the that blood tube or the integral tube. So that's why we have to keep the plasma a little bit. So RBC concentrate is there. And leukocyte poor red cell concentrate. Leukocyte poor red cell means, so leukocyte, these are highly immunogenic. That's why when we give the red cells with the leukocyte poor, means leukocyte, it will be destroyed with the radiation. That's why it is also known as the leukocyte poor red cell concentrate. So the red cell concentration is there, but here the leukocytes, it will be removed. And platelet rich plasma. Have you heard about this platelet rich plasma? So now here, platelet rich plasma, it is about, its volume is around 40 to 50 ml will be there. So in that plasma, mainly the platelet concentration will be there. So that is known as the platelet rich plasma. So now another one is the platelet concentration. So here mainly the platelet is concentrated. It's about 20 to 30 ml will be there, 30 ml will be there, and it is a platelet concentrate. And then also the granulocyte concentrate is there. Granulocyte concentrate means, so here mainly we are transferring the WBCs, isn't it? So that's why granulocyte concentrate, it can be given in case of this, in case of the neutropenia, or in case of this aplastic anemia, all these people, those who can have the infection. So granulocyte concentrate is there. And another one is a fresh frozen plasma. Fresh frozen plasma means when the plasma is separated after the platelets are taken out from the plasma, then we will have the only plasma left, isn't it? So that plasma is frozen, and then this plasma is known as a fresh frozen plasma. And there is also the cryoprecipitate is there. So now whenever this cryoprecipitate means, whenever this plasma, frozen plasma is thaw. Do you know the meaning of thawing? Anybody knows what do you mean by thaw?
Melting.
Good. Okay, melting, isn't it? So now here the fresh frozen plasma, it's frozen, isn't it? So now after this frozen plasma is thawed, means now thawing means whenever the solid like ice, it will thaw or it will melt, then it becomes the water, isn't it? So here also the fresh frozen plasma, whenever it is thawed, and then it has got some particles on the surface of the fresh frozen this plasma, then those particles, it is known as the cryoprecipitate. Understood here? And another one is a single donor plasma, means only one this plasma is taken from the only one donor, that is known as the single donor plasma. So here you just have to know the name, but nobody will ask you the detail as I have explained to you, but I just wanted to say you so that you'll remember the names. Did you understand any confusion here in the names? I hope you don't have. So red cell concentrate, it means that the RBCs are concentrated. And leukocyte poor red cell concentrate means this is also red cell concentration, or somewhat like packed red cell, but it will not have the leukocyte. And platelet rich plasma. So usually whenever you'll come to the clinical side, you'll always ask for this platelet rich plasma. This name you have to know, and then the red cell concentrate or the packed red cell also you have to know. Understood here? So for you people, whenever you will come to the clinical side, mainly the three things you will use. One is the packed red cell, and another one is a platelet rich plasma, PRP, you will say all the time, PRP. And then another one is the frozen, this fresh frozen plasma, FFP, you will say. Understood here? So basically three things you have to know, but this from the blood, different components can be made. So now we will see here how it is separated. Can you see the slide? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in that slide, it was like One is the red, whole thing is the red, isn't it so? You can see in a plastic bag, whole thing is red on the left side. So that means it is the blood bag, understood? Blood bag, and it is RBCs are mixed with the plasma. So here in this blood bag, RBCs are also there, WBCs are also there, platelets are also there, and then the clotting factors and immunoglobulins are also there, and then the plasma is also there in the left, on the left side. So this red one is the, now here, now we want to separate the plasma, understood here? Plasma and then the platelet. So this bag, it is centrifuged, understood here? So the whole blood is lightly centrifuged, means now here it is not very heavily centrifuged, but in this case it is lightly centrifuged, and then the packed red cells obtained, in which packed red cells means the red cell concentration. So here this is obtained in which about 70% plasma has been removed. So now you see here, whenever it is centrifuged, now at the bottom RBCs are heavier than that of the plasma, isn't platelet, isn't it so? So here at the bottom you can see on picture on the right side, RBCs are settled below, isn't it so? And now you can see the plasma above. Yes, plasma is the yellowish one, and then the dot dot, whatever that bluish dot is there, it indicates that here is the platelets are there. Understood here? So now the RBC, it is centrifuged, and then after the RBC settles down, then the in the plasma there will be the platelets are there. So now mainly we will concentrate platelets, but in the plasma there will be the clotting factors, albumin, and then the immunoglobulins will also be there. So here after this is done, then now this whatever this plasma above the yellowish one is there, that we will transfer it to the, so in this you can see the three plastic bags. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, after this separation, and then after the RBC settle down at the bottom, this plasma and then the platelet, it is squeezed or it is compressed with the machine, and then from the tube it will go to the another tube, plastic bag. It will go from this tube which is attached in the center, and from that tube it will go to the middle plastic bag, understood here? So now the red cell concentrate or the packed red cells are formed. Okay, this step, did you understand? Now we'll go to the next step. Now here already the RBC, it is already concentrated there, isn't it? So now the this plasma is having the many floating platelets are there. Did you see the picture on the left side? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here the RBC is only, red one is the only RBC, and now here the RBCs are compact and then it is separated. Now in the plasma which was transferred from the that earlier bag in the previous picture, now in the middle bag only the plasma and then the platelets are there, isn't it so? So now here the plasma and then the platelets, now it will be again now this plasma having the platelets, it will be centrifuged again with heavily, means previously just to separate the plasma and then the platelet and then the RBCs are heavier, that's why it will settle at the bottom. So to that time we use the light centrifuge, and now here now to separate the plasma and then the platelets. So plasma is a fluid, and in that fluid tiny particles, platelets will be there. So that's why to separate that we have to use the heavy spin, understood here? Heavy centrifuge. Do you know the meaning of centrifuge? I'm telling centrifuge several times, but do you know or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Only one, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
centrifuge means whenever we will spin the blood, whenever we'll spin something, whatever things are heavier, it will settle at the bottom, and then the little bit not heavier things will come up, and then the fluid will come at the above, understood here? So that is known as the spinning. Whenever we will rotate something, that is known as the in a machine, then that is known as the centrifuge machine. Chief matron kema pathology performance appraisal report Sunil Kumar Sahai. Yeah. Now in the right side picture, you can see here the RBCs are also there, and then the this at the bottom in the yellowish bag, in the middle bag, you can see here the platelets are settled at the bottom, isn't it? So now the plasma is more. So this much plasma is not required. Understood here? So usually now the RBCs are even more concentrated, and it is there at the bottom. And then now with the heavy spin, now the platelets are at the bottom, and then the plasma is more. So now we want to keep for this platelet-rich plasma, we will keep around I told you 30 to 50 ml, isn't it? So we will keep the 50 ml of the this plasma with the platelet, and then the remaining plasma we will separate, and that will be immediately kept in the deep freezer. So it will make the fresh frozen plasma. Understood here? So this slide, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I told you, isn't it? So now here the first picture, in this picture, you can see the red, isn't it? So that is the RBC concentrate is there, and another one at the middle you can see the tiny bluish particles. That will be the platelet rich plasma, isn't it? So, and then the whatever that platelets were not there, and then it was above, that is also separated and taken to the third bag, isn't it? So now here it becomes the plasma. Did you understand here? So the same thing it is written here, supernatant plasma can be expressed into the third bag, and it is stored as the fresh frozen plasma. So now whatever yellowish bag is there, bag containing the yellowish fluid or the plasma, so that will be frozen into the deep freezer, and it will act as a fresh frozen plasma. Understood here? And it is from a single donation of the whole blood has supplied the three separate components. First one is the packed red cell, second one is the platelet or the platelet rich plasma, and then the third one is the fresh frozen plasma. This is clear? Now you raise hand, how many of you have understood? Okay. So if you haven't understood, I'll tell you once again. Now with the picture only, now you see here the bag is there. It is having the three tubes, and three plastic bags are there. And in one, the RBC or the blood, whole blood is there. And then these bags are connected with the tubing system, isn't it? So one bag is connected with another tube, and the third bag is also connected. So we will do with the light spin, and then the RBC will settle down at the bottom, and then the plasma, whatever it's remaining. So RBC settle down at the bottom because it is heavier than that of the plasma and then the platelet. So plasma is above with the platelets, and then the RBC is settled down. So now whatever this plasma with the platelet was there, so we will transfer this plasma with the platelets in the second bag. Here the tube is attached, isn't it? So that's why we will separate this plasma with the platelets in the second bag, and at that time, after it is separated in the second bag, we'll again spin the blood. Understood here? So now after spinning the blood, what happens? RBCs is also concentrated at the bottom, even more concentrated, and then now the platelet is also concentrated. So we don't want to give so much of the plasma to the person who requires only platelets. So here, to make this platelet-rich plasma, we will transfer this from the second bag where the plasma and then the platelets are there. So this plasma is separated in the third bag. Through the tube it will go. So we'll have the compressor will be there. That bag compressor will be there. So we'll compress that bag, and then the plasma will go into the third bag. Understood here? So now you can see there are the three components are there, isn't it? So RBC is there, and then the platelet is there, and then the plasma is there. So RBC, it will act as the packed red cell. Understood here? So later on in your clinical postings, you'll always ask for this. These three basically, mainly these three you'll ask. One is the packed red cell, the center one is the platelet-rich plasma, and then the third one is the fresh frozen plasma. Clear? So now here plasma is collected by centrifugation of the blood, and then the red cells are separated, and then the plasma can be used in cases of the burn. So have you seen any burn patient? So in case of the burn patients, their skin will be burnt, isn't it? So there can be the superficial burn and there can be the deep burn will be there. And from those patients, a lot of plasma and then the albumin will go from their body. So here the plasma can be used mainly in cases of the burns, and in other cases also we will give. But it is usually more asked from the this burn department or the ward. Now we'll come to the plasma derivative. So in the plasma, there will be the albumin will also be there, factor VIII concentrate will also be there, fibrinogen will be there, immunoglobulins, and then the other clotting factors are there. Did you study about this factor VIII deficiency, factor IX deficiency, and von Willebrand disease? Was it finished?
Yes.
Okay. Von Willebrand factor, von Willebrand factor, what it carries? Which factor it carries?
Factor 8.
Good. Okay, factor VIII, isn't it? So now in the plasma derivatives, there will be the albumin will be there, and factor VIII concentrate will be there, fibrinogen will be there, immunoglobulins, and then the other coagulation factor or the other clotting factors will also be there. Did you understand here? So that's why we have to separate the plasma and then it can be stored. Understood here? Now we'll talk about the concentrated RBCs. Now here the red cells are obtained by centrifuging the blood. This I already showed you. Now how it is obtained. Red cells are obtained by centrifuging the blood. Means so the blood, whatever in the blood bag it is collected. So we will spin that blood bag. And then the RBCs will settle down at the bottom, and then whenever we'll remove the plasma, it becomes the red cell or the concentrated this RBCs. And now here in one packed cell unit, hematocrit is 55 to 57%. Do you know what do you mean by hematocrit?
Packed volume.
Here usually suppose if it is suppose the hemoglobin is 7, okay, the hematocrit level will be it is the packed cell volume, isn't it? So PCV or the hematocrit is the same thing. It is 3 times more, isn't it? So here in case of the one packed cell unit, there will be the hematocrit will be the 55 to 57% will be there. Understood here? So here in case of the concentrated RBCs or in case of the packed red cells, the volume will be 100 ml. So it reduces the risk of the volume overload. Here it means that whenever to a person who requires the only RBC, that time if we give the whole blood, together with the whole blood, the plasma will also go, isn't it? So now at that time we will be removing around 70 ml of the plasma, 60-70 ml of the plasma. That's why here this unnecessarily we are giving the more and more of the plasma, and so that whenever we will give the concentrated RBCs, the risk of volume overload will be reduced. This understood? How much blood we take, do you know? Whenever a blood donation is done, how much blood we take? Any idea?
Normally 350 ml.
Okay, good. Okay, actually, if a person is less than 50 kg, we take 50 kg only. We take 350 ml, and if a person is more than, I'll just tell you tomorrow. So if a person is more than 50 kg or more than 60 kg, then we will take it the 450 ml. If a blood is taken only for 350 ml, we cannot make the components. Understood here? We cannot make the component from the 350 ml. To have the these components, different components from the blood, we cannot make from this 350 ml. We have to take the 450 ml. Understood here? Out of that 450 ml of the blood, only 200 ml is given. So definitely it will reduce the this increased volume overload, isn't it? So it means that one. 1 unit of packed red cell raises the hemoglobin by 1 gram per deciliter. So whenever one packed cell is given, then if a person is having only 3 hemoglobin, then if 2 is given, then it becomes 5. Understood here? Now, this slide, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And that 200 ml is of packed volume.
Yeah, 200 ml is of packed cell volume. Little here, after that 450 ml is taken, and then only I told you 450 ml can be separated into the different components, isn't it so? So now we will remove whatever plasma is there, and now in that concentrated RBC, we will keep only about 50 ml of the plasma, so that the RBCs doesn't become so thick that it has to pass through the tubes, isn't it so? And then so it doesn't become so, there will not be the stagnant of the RBCs. That's why we keep the 50 ml of the plasma in case of the concentrated RBC or in case of the packed cell volume. Understood? So 1 unit of the packed red cells, it raises the hemoglobin by 1 gram per deciliter. So this you have to remember that. Okay, what do you mean a packed cell? How much is the ml? We will not ask you these questions, but here you have to remember that if 1 bag of the blood is given, okay, 50 kg. Okay, just now I asked my PG how much. Suppose if a person is more than 50 kg, then only the person can donate 450 ml of the blood, and if the person is less than 50 kg, then that person can donate only 350 ml of blood. Understood? So to give more blood, the weight should also be there. Suppose if a person is 35 kg and he or she wants to donate blood, we will not take blood from those persons. Now we'll come and talk about the fresh frozen plasma. So now here it is written as the FFP, fresh frozen plasma. In shortcut, it will be told as the fresh frozen plasma, FFP. So here the FFP is prepared after the separation of the whole blood or the plasmapheresis. Means, so separation of the whole blood. Whole blood is from the whole blood, the plasma will be separated, or in case of the or by the plasmapheresis. Plasmapheresis nowadays, this blood banking or this transfusion medicine has become very hi-fi. So whenever this in now, should I tell? It's a long thing to tell this plasmapheresis, but anyway, I'll tell you in the basic thing. So plasmapheresis or this means here what happens, a person, one person will stay in near the machine, and his tubes will be added in the this, for drawing the blood also tube is added, and then for returning the blood, the tube is also added in that person. Understood here? So if a person's blood is drawn, and then that blood will go in a machine. Understood here? So it will go in a machine, and then after that, whatever the plasma is, all these things will be, and then the WBCs will return back to the same person. So that is known as the plasmapheresis. Understood here? So those students who are in India or in Delhi, so their dengue and then the malaria is more. So they are usually these plasmapheresis machines will be there, and then so only whatever component is required. If RBC is required, then only RBC is taken from the person, and then the remaining blood, it is sent back to the same person. If the WBC is required, then WBC is taken. So here for making the fresh frozen plasma, only the plasma will be taken, and then it is kept in the deep freezer. So it will be made as the fresh frozen plasma. So usually storage is minus 18 degrees Celsius or lower. So it is below minus 18 and then the lower. Even sometimes I have seen minus 60, minus 80 also. Did you understand this fresh frozen plasma?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, fresh means now after the blood is donated, 450 ml of the blood is taken, and then soon after that the plasma is separated. It is freshly separated. That's why the name is the fresh frozen plasma. So storage is minus below minus 18 degree, and then or even lower up to minus 60. It is there 40, 60. So now we'll come to the indications of the fresh frozen plasma. Okay. So fresh frozen plasma can be given in case of the vitamin K deficiency with active bleeding. Suppose sometimes this vitamin K deficiency will lead to the active bleeding, isn't it? So that time, whenever we'll give this fresh frozen plasma, that active bleeding will be stopped. Understood here? So in case of the dilutional coagulopathy means if more of the fluid is given in a person, understood here, if more and more blood, or if more and more fluid is given to a person, then that fluid will go to the blood, isn't it? So it will go into the circulation, so and then it will lead to the dilution of the blood, understood here? So dilution of the blood, finally it will lead to the dilutional coagulopathy, understood here? So that time also we can give this fresh frozen plasma, understood here? So DIC means what?
Disseminated
Intravascular
intravascular
coagulation.
coagulation.
Okay, disseminated intravascular coagulation. What are the main causes for DIC?
Septic shock.
Septic shock, one, okay. Mainly the pregnancy related things, isn't it? Obstetric related conditions, like in case of the intrauterine fetal death, or in case of the abruptio placentae, or in case of this other pregnancy related things, isn't it? So the DIC with the active bleeding, in this case also we can give the fresh frozen plasma, and also in case of the deficiency of the factor 2, factor 10, and then the factor 11. So in that deficiency also we can give the fresh frozen plasma. This is clear? Did you understand this slide?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll once again say indications of fresh frozen plasma. We can give in case of the vitamin K deficiency with active bleeding, whenever vitamin K is not there, So that time active bleeding will be there, but whenever fresh frozen plasma is given, then that time there will be the stoppage of bleeding, and then the life can be saved. And also in case of the dilutional coagulopathy, so I didn't tell in the detail this dilutional coagulopathy, but I told you basic thing, isn't it? So here dilutional means where more and more fluid will be given in a person, sometimes it will lead to the dilutional coagulopathy. That time also we'll give the fresh frozen plasma. And in case of the DIC, means in case of the disseminated intravascular coagulation, it may be of the various causes, as you have said, septic causes or the obstetric complications, or sometimes whenever the surgery will go for the prolonged or long period of time, like 8-hour surgery, 9-hour surgery, that time also this DIC will be there. So there will be the active bleeding will be there. So here, in case of the DIC, which two systems will be activated? Coagulopathy or the clotting factors will also be activated. It will cause the clotting of the blood, as well as the fibrinolytic system will also be activated, isn't it? So both the systems will be, blood is clotting at the same time, and then that clot is also lysed, isn't it? So fibrinolytic system will also be activated. So there will be the active bleeding, and whenever we'll give the fresh frozen plasma, it will lead to the stoppage of that bleeding. And we can give the fresh frozen plasma in the deficiency of factor 2, 10, and 11 also. Now we'll come to the cryoprecipitate. Have you ever heard this name cryoprecipitate word before? Okay, here cryoprecipitate, how it is prepared, I already told you, but still here it is written. Cryoprecipitate is prepared from fresh frozen plasma by freeze and thaw process. Freeze and thaw process means fresh frozen plasma. At what temperature it is stored, I told you, isn't it? So below minus 18 degrees Celsius, isn't it? So whenever it is frozen, now we want to take out the cryoprecipitate, understood here? So if that plasma, fresh frozen plasma, after it is thawed, it cannot be again frozen, understood here? Once it is the patient has patient party has gone to the blood bank and already brought this fresh frozen plasma. Fresh frozen plasma, at first it will be frozen and it will be in the deep freezer. After taking out in the that normal temperature outside in the room temperature, then it will slowly thaw, understood here? So here that is known as a fresh frozen plasma. And now whatever this flakes will be there on that frozen plasma, whenever it is thawed, then on the surface of that fresh frozen plasma, there will be the some particles, whitish particles will be there. So that is known as a cryoprecipitate. Clear? So this cryoprecipitate, it will contain the fibrinogen, factor 8, factor 9, 1 Willebrand factor, and then the factor 13. So now it will have the many clotting factors, isn't it? So now in those persons who have got this deficiency of this factor 8 and then the factor 9, so we'll give this cryoprecipitate, and then the person can be survived. This is clear, cryoprecipitate, how it is made, and then in which cases it is given. Did you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, previously, the persons having factor 8 deficiency and then the factor 9 deficiency, you must have heard that, okay, these factors deficiency were seen in the royals of the Spain and then the Britain and then Russia, isn't it? So yes? Any idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That time, they use this factor deficiency and then this bleeding and then this hemarthrosis and all, it was seen first in the royals of the Britain, Spain, Russia, and then all these countries where the royal people, they used to marry within their own family, understood here? So that time they did not want to go their royal quality or their whatever this royal things, they didn't want to go in the public. That's why they used to marry within the family, and then this factor, and those persons who married within the family, so in those royal families, this factor 8 deficiency and then the factor 9 deficiency were seen. And so that time, the persons were given this cryoprecipitate, this clotting factors were given this with the this factor 8 and then the factor 9, and they used not because of this bleeding they died, but they died because of the HIV and then hepatitis B and then the hepatitis C. In those years, this hepatitis B and hepatitis C and HIV, it was not identified. That's why nowadays we do in our blood that basic screening test I told you, isn't it? So we will do for HBsAg, anti-HCV, and then the HIV also we will do the test. So it was done because of these factors given. So those persons, they used to receive this factor 8 and then the factor 9 repeatedly, and they suffered from the HIV and all these hepatitis. So now we'll come to the plasma expander. So plasma expander means, so here this plasma expander is designed to provide the colloidal osmotic pressure or the expand the plasma volume, that is, it may be colloid or the crystalloid. So here, if a person will have bleeding, that time there will be the blood volume loss will be there, isn't it? So in the body. So now we want to give some fluid to those persons, isn't it? So till the time arrangement for the blood, we will give this plasma expander. So the plasma expanders, it may be the colloid or the crystalloid. Okay, here. So here, if a volume of the blood, and then there is so much severe blood loss is there until the time the blood is arranged for the person. So blood arrangement is not done immediately within a few minutes. So it will take time, isn't it? So one has to give the blood, and sometimes fresh blood is required. That time one has to give the blood, and sometimes this patient's cross matching, it has to be done. So it will take time. That's why till that time we'll give the plasma expander. So that's why it is designed to provide the colloidal osmotic pressure, and or it will expand the volume of the blood. And these solutions are the colloidal solutions or the crystalloid solutions. So now I'll talk about the colloidal solution. Colloidal means, these are the dextran 40 and then the dextran 70. Now I'm not talking about the blood. So I'm talking about the plasma expanders. So if the blood is not there, then one should not panic, isn't it? So what to be given? So one has to know. So we will give the plasma expanders, and under the plasma expander comes the colloidal solution and then the crystalloid solution. Colloidal solutions, its name is dextran 40 and dextran 80. So it is separate, dextran 40 and then the dextran 70 is there. And then there is also the hydroxyethyl starch 450 is there, and then the gelatin is there. So this colloidal solution, if in a person it is given, it will remain in a blood vessels for a longer duration of time than that of the crystalloid solution. So the crystalloid solutions, these are the ringer lactate and then the sodium this chloride or the saline water. You must have heard, or the saline solution you must have heard, isn't it? So we'll give the ringer lactate or the 9% sodium chloride or the saline solution we will give. So a lot of slides are left. Tomorrow I'll take. Till today's class, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
In transfusion medicine, in today's class, we studied blood component as a whole blood.
Yes.
Platelet cells, platelets, cryoprecipitate,
Yes.
and fresh frozen plasma, and their indications.
Yes.
So, and we studied all blood components should be ABO compatible.
Yes, yes. Blood components, whatever should be given, should be the ABO compatible.
But in the case of cryoprecipitate, does it have a exception, or it is also ABO compatible?
No. In case of the cryoprecipitate, we don't give the it doesn't have to be the compatibility. So actually, this fresh frozen plasma is only the 50 ml. Understood here? Fresh frozen plasma is only of the 50 ml. Out of that 50 ml, also tiny particles, maybe 5 ml or 6 ml is given, and in that also if we do the blood compatibility, it will not show at all. So there will not be. So we don't have to do the this ABO compatibility at that time.
In case of cryoprecipitate.
In case of cryoprecipitate also, and in case of this fresh frozen plasma also, this ABO compatibility we don't do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions?
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
if the stored blood is not used till 5 weeks, then it should be thrown, or is there any other alternative?
Suppose usually it will be used, blood will be used because a lot of demand will be there. Sometimes delivery problem will be there, and sometimes surgery will be there. They will make the blood ready, and sometimes some patient will, nowadays a lot of these anemic patients, because of these pesticides or because of this industrial hazard, whatever it is, the patient comes, so it will be used. But if that blood cannot be used within 5 weeks, isn't it? So I said CPDA, isn't it? So if it is not used within that 5 weeks, then we will not use that blood, but it can be used in another way. So we will send to the microbiology, and then they will make this agar, they will make chocolate agar, and then what agar is there which requires blood. So it can be used in that way. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, clear.
Any more questions? So blood banking, a lot of things, interesting things are there to know. So tomorrow I'll tell you in detail about in which cases these components will be given. So few little bit under that topic I told, but tomorrow indications I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you about this, when a person can give blood and when a person cannot give blood, and then if vaccine is given, which vaccine is given. Suppose if rabies vaccine is given, then if a person person has taken rabies vaccine, that person can give blood or not. So I'll tell in detail. So that persons cannot give blood for 1 year. If a female is pregnant and breastfeeding, that time also we cannot give blood. And if a person is having some heart diseases or some chronic diseases, that time also a person cannot give blood. So usually we will take a blood from donor, should be a healthy donor, understood here? So many patients come here. Last time, one incident I want to share you. So once what happened in the blood bank, one person wanted to give blood, understood? So our staff in the blood bank, he asked, do you have any injury or any wound in your body? And he was wearing pant that cannot be seen with our own eyes, isn't it? So if somebody is covering that one, he said, I have got a wound in my leg. Then that person brought that donor to me and said, ma'am, he wanted to give the blood. I told him he cannot give, but he is fighting with me. Then I told him that you cannot give the blood because you have got wound. Now we are not giving the blood to the healthy person, isn't it? So now his wound is already infected. So he became very angry and said, why can't I give blood? If I won't have told that I got wound, then you would have taken my blood and given to my person. But now why you can't give? So people don't understand, but we'll ask question in such a way so that they will not hide their things. So many incidences will be there. If tomorrow there will be time, I can share with you. And finally, he was like, what you say, he was very heavy, and then if he would have given one blow to the staff, he would have died. So all these things we will face whenever you will go to the clinical site and whenever you will pass. Okay, anything? I'll not upload the slide today. I'll upload my slide tomorrow. Okay, thank you for coming and listening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Okay.